You're on, Mr. McCarthy.
Hey,
You're
everybody.
on.
Ho! Well, let me start off by saying white power. No, just kidding. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Brian McCarthy. Sitting stage right is Adam Hineker. And this is the Brian McCarthy Interview Show, newly monetized. Woo!
Yeah, right. Send us a super chat. Really fucking roast us if you want.
God,
we can take it,
yeah,
right?
We can listen.
Can you
If-
take it?
with a
Maybe
child-
I shouldn't have wrote a check.
With a childhood like mine, I mean, I told you I worked at that Mexican restaurant, and the manager would sit there by the tortilla warmer,
Eduardo Debevics.
and he would just throw the chips at me and go, "You're not going to make it. You're not going to make it," because you know he's an
Shut up.
actor. Yeah.
Shut up.
Tequila Willie's off
God.
of Vanderbilt Avenue. It's no longer there, but
Wow.
I would go to the window to wait for my enchiladas or tacos or whatever would come out of the window to run to my tables. And
Sure.
his job as the manager
Scurry on over.
was he stood, there was a big, like a chip warmer, you pull it out and
Okay.
keep all the tortilla chips. And
Yeah.
so his job was to look at the food.
He's going, fire me Chili Milano on 5.
There's
Fire.
There was actually also a food runner who did that.
Okay.
So there was a
They're yelling the fire thing?
Yeah, he was more dealing with, everyone's going to kill himself here, but he was more dealing with the front of the house. But he was doing he would look at the plate, and then he would take a little bit of tortillas and put them on each plate. That's how he kind of blessed the food to go out.
Kind of dress the
sure,
maybe just a little cilantro.
Yeah, toss some scallions on there.
Sure.
Yeah, and he was this fat young guy from Brooklyn. He was Italian, and he his way of having fun with me was I'd go to the window and he would take chips and he would just throw them at my face, and he would go, "You're not going to make it. You're not going to make it. You're not going to make it."
Meaning,
I'm as an actor. I'm not
an actor.
Me moving
in
to
show business.
Yeah, me pursuing my dream of living in New York, of moving here to be whatever I want it to be.
Yeah.
It was never going to happen. So I might as well. Yeah. And it was his job to tell me that. And then there was another Tequila Willie's, and to make more money, I worked at that one also. And then
pick up a shift at the other location.
Yes,
sure.
And then one time I went to the wrong Tequila Willie's, and the other manager fired me.
Wrong Willie's.
Wrong Willie's.
Wait, you picked up a shift at a
Okay, so picture this. I'm working
extra Willie's.
I got 5 days a week. I'm working at the Vanderbilt Avenue one, right by Grand Central, right? And that's where the guy threw the chips at my head. And then once in a while, maybe 2 or 3 other days a week, I would work. You couldn't work doubles for some reason. So I would go to the other location, another Tequila Willie's, and I'd work at that one. Same menu. I mean, I don't know. Maybe the chip drawer was located next to the salsa as opposed to adjacent from the.
It's fun going around and kind of mixing it up with the other.
So much fun.
The other folks keeps morale.
Yeah. I go,
up.
Hey, we keep our fajita warmers over by the soda machine. You guys keep them over here by the. Wow.
Then if you got any kind of Willie's humor, you got a new audience.
Oh yeah. I would.
That could be fun.
Yeah, I would. I lit up the room with my smile, but I went to the wrong Tequila Willie's, and I was in the manager's office with that manager of that Tequila Willie's, and he's on the phone, speakerphone with the other manager, and he goes, "You tell the kid he's fired," and I just started crying.
Wait. The guy on the phone fired you, or the guy that was live in person fired you?
I was at Tequila Willie's, and I showed up for my shift.
Yeah, I get that part.
Right. Okay. So I'm there, and the manager goes, "Hey, come in my office." I'm like, "Okay."
Sure.
I'm starting. It's like 11:30. It's about to get ready for lunch, and he goes, "You're at the wrong Tequila Willie's. You're supposed to be at the other one,
right?
So you're at the wrong location. So you're going to miss your shift over on Vanderbilt." And this is before cell phones or anything. So, so he goes, "So let's call the manager." So, call the manager, put the guy on speakerphone, and he's like, "Hey, Brian."
At the Willie's you were supposed to be at.
And he goes, "Brian's in the office." And he goes, "You tell that kid he's fired."
Wow.
Yeah. And
so the guy on the phone, but the other location was the one that actually dropped the hammer.
Yes.
Wow.
And I was so bereft, and I was so sad, and I didn't have any money. I mean, I was in that show.
You're living hand to fist.
I was even
fist to mouth.
Yeah, I was in that. I was in. I would have done it. That would have been if you wanted to pay me for unprotected gay sex. That would have been my time
with one of the fellows down at the townhouse.
This was this was the lowest point at living in New York up until now. Maybe things can always get worse, I guess. But right. But I remember I was so broke. I was in that show, Co-ed Prison Sluts, the musical.
Sure.
and I was living on 43rd and 9th Avenue, which is like a Hell's Kitchen sort of. It's Hell's Kitchen. And then the rehearsals were up at the 92nd Street Y, which is up on 92nd Street in Lexington. And I know a lot of people, don't live in New York, but it's, imagine 50 blocks up. It's about 4 miles away. And in order to save the $1, maybe
right.
2.5, in order to save the $1.15 on the train, I would walk there and walk back. I mean, I was
good exercise.
I was like barely 18. I was so broke. So I'm in the office and I just started crying. Like, and not even to like the guys, but about my own predicament, just going like, what am I going to do?
This wasn't for sympathy to try to retain the position. You just actually were having a breakdown.
Yeah. So then the manager went over, locked the door, pulled his thick, uncircumcised cock
He
out.
hit the Matt Lauer button.
Yeah, he did. Click, click. No,
you're not going anywhere.
Hey, kid. No, but it was actually really funny because I started crying, and the other manager takes it off speakerphone, the guy that I'm in the room with, and he's on the phone. He goes, Bob. He's like, the kid's,
how about fucking hard, Bob?
He's like, the kid's crying here, Bob. Let's give him one more. Come on, Bob. Don't be. I know.
Oh, he's asking for another shot.
He's like, just give him a fucking break. Like, come on, like, just whatever. Like, he was so embarrassed that I was crying in his office. Like, it'd be great if he was like, look, we all know he's never gonna make it. And Rocco's throwing chips at his head.
Kind of go down the checklist of all
this kid is
you're gonna fail at.
This Bob, we both know this kid is a fucking loser. I mean, we both know it, but let him. He's going to kill himself. I mean, the meter's running on him. But let's let him get a win today. Let's let him work at Tequila Willie's for another week. I mean, Bob, come on, we could be dream makers here, Bob. So then he hung up and he goes, all right, it's fine. He goes, don't worry. He goes, you can work. And I was like, well, what about my shift? And he's like, you can work here. He was like, I want to get me out of his office. Like,
holy shit.
I said, he goes, look, you can work here for the day. I'd already stopped crying at that point. I was like, look, I'm really sorry. He was like, he didn't want to hear it. He was like, He goes, like, work here for the day. And then I worked at the Killer with like for another 4 or 5 months. And then, that was it. But that was, hopefully that is the nadir of my existence. So
I tell you something that's going to cheer you up. We got our very first super chat.
Shut up. Really?
From Dr. Spurgenberg.
Hey, Dr. Spurgenberg.
And he says, do you still do that Jimmy Martinez impression?
Oh my God. Now I have to do it.
It was controversial.
Wait.
Don't get us demonetized though. Immediately.
Yeah, don't try. Are you trying to fuck me up here?
Well, you don't have to use this, certain word.
Yeah. Well, for those, okay,
it's almost impossible to do without it, though.
Maybe I can ninja. Maybe I can answer the super chat by letting the other members of the audience kind of providing a little context. So, and thank you, doctor.
He makes a good salad. He's a doctor.
Yeah, wrecked him, nearly killed him. But okay, so there's this guy. For those of you who don't listen to MLC or Burning Bridges or whatever,
they all know who he is.
Well,
I don't think you need to explain.
There could be a person in the room. There, all right. I like to think after 5 years of not doing that show, someone else has picked up. I mean, come on. Anyway.
No, I'm just speaking to sort of.
Okay. Broad strokes. Jimmy Martinez is this giant African-American. I don't know if he's a comic. I don't know how he's a comic. He's comedy adjacent. And what does he call himself? He's like, yo, I'm doing it, I guess. But he's like, I'm the what is it? King of the underground.
Oh yeah, I'm the king of the underground comedy.
King of the underground comedy. So he would come on this show, and at one point, and this actually, if you don't know what I'm talking about, I bet if you search on YouTube, Jimmy Martinez beating up Kevin Brennan, it'll probably pop right up, because Jimmy Martin he had somebody who. Martinez had been in jail. He was a scary guy, and I don't think mentally he was all there necessarily. Like, he was somebody who would probably kill somebody but be crying while he was doing it. You know what I mean? Like, you see what you made me do? I didn't want to do this. I'm the king of the underground.
Brenda.
It's falling into Tracy Morgan, but
the white woman.
Exactly. He's staying on her couch. Yo, Brenda.
I know your father loves you.
Yo, Brenda, I ate all your bugles. Your bugles was in the cabinet. Brenda. All right, come on. I'm getting a call from YouTube. We're all that was quick. So anyway, but then Jimmy Martinez, but he came on the show, and he was, and I've spent a little time in jail. I mean, not a whole lot, but a couple of more than most, but about under a month. I was in Miami-Dade County jailhouse, but that was a long time ago.
Right.
But
who's counting?
And so Jimmy Martin, so he was so I wasn't necessarily intimidated by him. Not that I was
Jimmy Martin?
Jimmy Martinez.
Oh, okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm trying to,
because he was actually known as Jimmy Marr on Hot 97 when he was on Hot 97.
Yo,
I believe it was Hot 97 or Power 105.
Yo, blazing hip hop and R&B.
Right.
Yo, Charlemagne, can I get a Newport? What's up, Charlemagne? Yeah. So Jimmy Martinez. So I started talking about my honey buns, and I was imitating
your
Jimmy.
mackerel.
Yeah, imitating Jimmy Martinez to be, yo, Jimmy Martins, you the king of the underground. And he'd be like, yo, I was in Rikers Island. I was like, yeah, me too. They took my honey buns. I would go up to commissary, give me some honey buns, and give them out to all the brothers. Okay, I don't know. It's probably pretty good.
I watched it I think an unnatural amount of prison shows. I realized.
What, to jerk off to?
Yeah. No, I realized I just watch a lot of because I know about all this stuff that you're talking about.
Yeah.
From A&E though.
Yeah.
Not because I lived it.
I don't like the reality. And by the way, Doctor, thank you for being our first super chat. It's really nice of you.
Yeah.
So
Dr. Spergenberg is Canadian. I didn't realize that.
Oh boy.
Came through as 279 Canadian.
Oh, loonies abound. Loonies abound. Why? I wonder if you remember, if anybody listened from last week, we had that Athena on, and
sure, she
was on her way to Toronto to have sex with a bodybuilder who was going to make her
for spite.
Yeah,
because it was her ex's
like dream boy
idol.
Yeah, and I did think it would be funny if it was Lou Ferrigno.
Right. I met him one time at a Comic-Con.
I bet you did.
Like 3, I couldn't believe it. You know how they have those tables?
Yep.
I was just kind of, I don't remember why I was even at Comic-Con, but this was 5-6 years ago.
What was it, Hulk related?
Yeah.
It'd be really funny though if there's Lou Ferrigno, there's a big sign next to him and says, "Do not ask about the Incredible Hulk." You're like, well, what the fuck am I gonna?
Right.
What? I Love You Man. He was in I Love You Man. I do know that Lou Ferrigno does like motivational speaking.
Does he really?
Yes. So perhaps you could have like booked him to do something. But
yeah, maybe.
So, by the way, Athena from last week, she said something to me that really cleared
Athena
up.
Parisi.
Athena Parisi at Paris.
The lovely
Paris One baby.
Parisi baby.
She was funny. Remember, she looked at my it's on I haven't put the short out yet, but she looked at my arm on my big stupid blue tattoo here, and she goes, "Where'd you get that? Medieval Knights?" Which I know she meant medieval times, but I think it was funnier that she even fucked it up. Like she was really funny. I enjoyed her and her like I don't know what that guy was.
She was a lot of fun. Gay husband. Well, like best friend.
Yeah.
/ domestic partner.
He definitely he was, but he was, he just had, he had that yellow, his hair was not even blonde. It was like yellow. It looked like, like Aquaman hair or something, a gay Aquaman. Like had
looked a little bit like, know that little figurine on Mr. Rogers.
Yo, I bent him over. I put him on his stomach.
I forget what her
Mr. Rogers
when they would go into the land of make believe. He had kind of with the one with like the blush.
Oh yeah.
He looked like a hot version of that.
Yeah, and he was quite aromatic too. Did you get close?
Oh, he smelled amazing.
He did, but he smelled like amazing from across the room. I was like, do I need to crack a window here? Like my apartment's gonna smell like
that high karate.
Yeah, it's gonna smell like gay. So,
I felt like it did smell a little gay in here still today. A week later.
That's for other reasons. Right. That's trust me. That's not from a week ago.
That's from the poppers and lilac.
Yeah. Jimmy, you made me gay. I'm gonna beat you up for sucking my dick. In fact, I can't say that. I can't. What can I say? I don't know. But
I mean, you can. But you should.
I'm not. Listen,
not really. I don't think they really care about that.
There's enough hate flying around.
Right.
How do they know if you drop a trigger bomb?
No, they actually with that.
Go ahead.
With the the
Adam,
buzzwords.
What's the workaround?
Please explain YouTube. Adam explains YouTube. Smash that like button, everybody. With stuff like that, that's more if somebody reports you. Like if you, but I think you got to be pretty.
Like fast.
But it's very YouTube is very arbitrary with the things that they don't like. I heard from somebody that if you're anti-war, you can sometimes get shadow banned on
really?
YouTube. Yeah, like weird shit like that.
Oh,
how would we know that?
Is like YouTube owned by Halliburton? Or
I think so. I think
well, I don't
Halliburton
know.
Hopefully we got another one from Paul Roberts, but he just sent 0.79 pounds sterling.
Hey, thanks, buddy. That's hold
no
on.
message. Just
Let me.
But that's our boy Ted/Paul.
Hey, Ted. Let me do the conversion. That's $48. So
Yeah,
thank you
I think
very
so.
much, Ted. Thank you.
Could feed a whole family in
So
Jakarta.
What Athena said last week, because I think this was something that I wasn't like. I've always been confused about this, and her answer to me was so, I don't want to, I'm not going to say gross. That's, but I was like, it made real sense. And it actually made the whole idea of like sodomizing a gal, like, oh, it was okay. What I'm talking about is, remember the question I asked her was, because she has this huge penis. If nobody,
sure. Oh, right. Yeah, this was a good question.
Thank you.
I actually talked to my girlfriend about that over dinner.
Oh, did you? What do you guys having? Hot dogs?
Fucking
go ahead.
Sausages.
Yeah, fucking bangers and mash.
Links.
Yeah, Ted, go ahead. Black pudding or whatever.
Right.
That's what she has in her period.
I think probably, gay sex came up.
Yeah. So anyway, to get back to it, during the salad course,
the appetite, the calamari had just come out.
Like we were having a watercress salad.
I forget why, but I was like, interesting question, because I thought it is, you do kind of wonder, because like she had said,
yes,
she doesn't consider guys that are into trans women gay,
right?
Which they're not gay, but they're also not straight. Am I right?
Well, yeah, and okay, like for example, like
folks,
I don't consider Joe DeRosa gay. I mean, no. I think gay would be with another guy.
He also only had one. So far, only one isolated.
Not for lack of trying. Let's be honest. You don't know him like I know him. Like, oh my goodness. But no. But I mean, like, I can see if you're attracted to trans women, I can't imagine you're like, I like Athena, whatever her fucking name is, or I'm also into a young Tom Selleck. Like, it's very different. Like, I understand. Right. It's not. To your point. It's certainly not straight, but it's not like a couple of.
But at the same time, though, it's very, like we talked about last week, it's very hyper feminine.
Yes.
It's almost, female impersonator.
Yes.
Whatever. And so, yeah, you can't really be visually. It's like you're into women, but with a little surprise,
a little zhuzh, a little something.
By little zhuzh, we mean
9-inch cock,
uncut.
So, okay.
Throbbing member.
So my question for her was, and I asked this to Joe also, is that when she's having, when she's being sodomized, for lack of a better term, and she's got that big dick, is it pleasurable to her to get jerked off, right? Or like how much and if you're sort of acting like this person you're with is not a guy, it's hard to kind of like continue that fantasy if this 9-inch dick is like knocking over the end table,
cock bigger than yours.
Yeah, you're like, hey, he's knocking over like a stack of bills you've got on the the coffee table. So
you had the mouse trap you were setting up.
So I asked
everywhere.
So the question I asked for is like, what happened? She goes, and she told us, and this is a little like I'm pretty open-minded, but I was like, all right. But she said when she is getting let's just say, had sex to
right
to her bottom,
she's being made love to
her bottom, her enormous penis will retreat and make like a little acorn. Okay, right. So it really gets out of the way,
descends,
which retreats almost
retreats
into a lap of shame,
retracts.
a lap of shame. And it retreats all the way. So it gets to be, and she told us like a little button. So then, and this is the part that talk about nature versus nurture, that little button penis starts to just leak cum. Remember that part?
Right. Yes. I should
go ahead.
Should mention this is not what I was talking about.
Oh,
during dinner, but I just want to.
Well,
I just felt like I should mention that. I was talking more about their opinion about her having a cock.
Yeah. Well, so in a weird way, and she was saying that it's very pleasurable for the guy that she's with because they don't need any lube. Her little acorn penis secretes so much cum that they can just use her cum as lube. So I don't, I don't really
definition of a happy accident.
Yeah, I don't need to get into the whole thing, but I was like, oh, all right, okay.
You feel like you bit off more than you could chew there.
Well, honey, try me and I'll tell you.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, all right. Well, that was last week. So and I got it. So I often will talk about like my bathroom habits or what happened, but yesterday, this is pretty funny, I think, because like everyone if you don't know, I've been on Ozempic now for over a year. And, it's a weight loss thing, 55 pounds, 52, 55, somewhere around there. And one of the things that can be a side effect is you can get constipated, right? So, okay. And it's hard to tell if I'm constipated or it's just that I'm not eating, like I don't eat a lot.
Less in, less out.
Yeah. So, so sometimes I'll go like 2 or 3 days and I won't have made an evacuation.
Bowel movement.
I haven't made an evacuation.
Sure.
So I'm like, I suddenly start thinking about it. I'm like, oh shit, I haven't made a poop in like 2 or 3 days. But then inevitably I'll make one or it'll be fine.
Right.
So then yesterday I was running around and I was on my way home and I realized I got like blocked from the apartment and I was like, oh, I need a bathroom. Like I need a bathroom.
It was go time.
It was go time. And I was like, to the point where like I was getting close to my building and I was like, I hope the elevator's there. You know what I mean? Like
yes,
I was like,
I don't have to wait.
Yeah, I was like, it was right on we were right there. So I come in the apartment, I make a left, I go to the bathroom in our bedroom and I just sit down and it was like, and again, I know it's kind of, this is gross. And it had to be like a foot long easy.
Wow.
And it was solid and it was black. It was this giant black. So it felt so good coming out. And then at the very end, I was like, there's more. And that was the only time I actually pushed and you can
but
never,
wait, there's more.
You can never underestimate the elasticity of the human anus because I gave it just a little push and it was like the size of a grapefruit, this giant, perfectly round ball that just kind of went I was on the bowl. I was like, and it plopped down into the bowl. And it was, so imagine like this giant, like 12-inch tube. And at the end, like this massive, and it was pitch black. And I looked at that and like when I flushed it, I actually like put some paper towel or toilet paper in my hand and I held part of it back to make it a 2-parter because I was worried it was going to
wow.
And even then I still clogged the toilet.
You'd have to call the plumber.
And even then, not only did I clog the toilet, but like the black stuff like stuck on the bowl. I had to clean the whole. It was like a whole thing. So
wow,
yeah, and it felt fantastic. I was sitting there.
Oh God, I bet you just sat there and went,
yeah. Oh yeah, I was, yeah. And I actually like I've been like, it has been pushing out a little bit. I felt like my lower, wherever above my my whatever that area. And I was like, oh, it feels empty there. So, okay, great. So now in my mind, I'm like, wow, I'm not going to shit again until like August 15th or something.
Right.
So then
I'm good through the fall.
So then here in America, we have, cherry season is upon us. And it's my favorite fruit. As a matter of fact, for those of you who are from the United Kingdom, if you ever want to make a stone fruit pudding, you take cherries and you take the pit out, obviously, and you put them in, you have to press it down. And I've made a couple of these. In England, they call dessert puddings. Isn't that adorable?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So anyway, with a little lemon sherbet. So anyway, I've been eating a lot of cherries because they kind of come into season. They start off at about $12.99 a pound. And right about now, for example, yesterday I went to Whole Foods, it's a grocery store here, and cherries they're $3.99 a pound, which is about as cheap as they're going to get. But that's a real problem for me because I'll just eat them all day long.
You need kind of that financial barrier to entry.
Right around $7.99. If it's above $7.99, I'll still buy them, but I'll just buy like a pound or two. And but yesterday I went to Whole Foods, the one down by Columbus Circle, and my therapist is retiring, by the way. Shout out Dr. Jamie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Anyway, so I was leaving that, and then I went into Whole Foods, and I was like, oh, $3.99 a pound. So I bought probably, because they come in these like big bags, and I guess each bag weighs about 2.5 pounds. So I bought
Good Lord.
I bought 7.5 pounds of cherries.
And these all have pits in them, yeah?
Oh, yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
So that at least slows you down a little bit because you can't just pop them.
They had two different kinds. They had some that were $9.99 a pound. Those are organic cherries, but fucking organic cherry because they're really little. You know what I mean? Like, you need those pesticides to really, the cherries I have over in the house, I still have like 5 pounds of them, but each cherry is like the size of, I don't know, it's huge. It's like a big marble. So you can actually take the cherry and like bite it like it's a peach or something. So I bought like 7.5 pounds. And, as a matter of fact, the woman at Whole Foods was like, she was like, "Wow, there's a lot of cherries."
Mm.
And I said, "Well,
Wow.
life's the pits." No, I didn't say that. But
She high-fived you.
yeah,
and
high
you
five.
Took
She,
your canvas tote bag.
this
And
guy's all right. No, I didn't have a shopping. This is an impulse buy.
okay.
So I actually was walking around New York with my bags of cherries just in the bag, like that I had bought them from
like the clear plastic
like the one
produce bag. Yeah.
from like the farm or whatever they were from Washington State. So the $3.99. So I got home last night, rinsed them, and then I sat down and was doing stuff on the computer, and I just was like eating cherries. And after, I don't know, about an hour of just like shoving cherries in my mouth, I was like, oh, I have a little bit
Tummy
of a
rumbling.
little tummy rumble.
Yeah.
No problem, because I haven't even had diarrhea in a long time, and I was almost a little excited because when you're on Ozempic, I don't know why. I don't know if people have ever said they get diarrhea on Ozempic. I feel like it's constipation. I don't know anyone
I've
who's
always heard
the other way.
Yes, the way you're talking about.
So in a weird way, I was like, this will kind of be nice. Maybe we'll clean the walls, if you will. You know what I mean? Like we cleaned out the storm drain, and now let's work on the roof.
The gutters.
So I left here, the living room. I went over to the same bedroom. If my toilet could talk, it would go, "Not this again." So
it's a living.
Yeah. So I sit down on the bowl and I make a push, and it was, I'm not exaggerating, it was like 4 pounds of but not diarrhea, like sludge, like thick sludge. It was like diarrhea, but 4 times the viscosity. So it was like really, really thick. It was this thick mess of I've never seen anything like that come out of my body before. And I sat there and I was like, oh, and I actually, I can't see very well. So I'm down, I'm looking at it. I'm like, is there any blood in there? Or fucking auto parts?
Could just be cherry meat. If it's, you know what I mean? Like when you eat beets.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So anyway, no, it was, I'm telling you, whatever, it was kind of like these cherries. Yeah, they pushed it all through my intestines.
They really clear you out.
I have never been that. Yes.
Like a natural fiber.
Yeah. And it was cleared out. And that one I just flushed because I was like, well, it's not that thick. And it was so close to flush. I was plunging as I was flushing, and it worked out fine. It was fine. So then, but then since then, for example, just 10 minutes ago, I'm a little nervous. I have a coffee in front of me. I'm a little nervous if I drink this. I'm gonna have the shits again, but we'll see what happens.
Wait, because were you up eating cherries last night?
I had some more this morning. Yes.
Okay.
I can't stop myself. Dude, yeah. My wife, I'm already an alcoholic, but last time my wife was even after that big sludgy, whatever the hell you call that, my wife I was eating more cherries, and she was like, you should stop eating cherries, because I was farting so loudly. And we're watching that show Hacks on HBO. It's very funny. And I'm watching it, and it's a weird thing because I don't know sometimes.
Like a human soundboard over here.
If you think you know somebody, I don't know if my wife is actually horrified by me farting that much, or if she thinks it's funny. And I've been married for so long that
I think probably somewhere in between.
Yeah, but I was definitely I was redlining.
Right.
She was at one point. She was like, "Can you just pretend to not don't lift up your leg and stuff?"
Right.
She's like, "We're not roommates." So. Yes. So finally, then last night was okay, and then this morning I woke up and I walked the dogs, and I was like, and I sat down and I made an evacuation. But this was just good old fashioned diarrhea, and since then I've had a little bit. And then earlier today, just when we were having lunch, I was going to fart at lunch, but I didn't want to fart on, but I thought it was going to be quiet.
You knew I'd get a boner.
Yeah, exactly. I know you'd knock the Philly cheesesteak over and just start sucking my cock at the table. Yeah. So I didn't want to fart because I thought it might be an accident. And so I was right. I mean, I didn't.
Sure. Yeah.
So I ran into
it could turn into more.
Yeah.
Right.
So hoist on your own petard. So I ran into the bathroom, and I don't know. I don't even know what's left back there. So I'm not going to have any more cherries. Although I still have 2 big bags in there. I'll get into them. I'll get into them again. Right. But if you're
maybe send the wife out of town for the weekend or something.
Well, she's going to go to her. She's going to go to her dad's all day tomorrow. So I think I'm going to masturbate all day tomorrow and have diarrhea. That's my Saturday. Yeah. Hey, super chat that. You liggers.
That is the weirdest weekend plans.
I'm excited.
I've never heard.
It's going to be like a Hawaiian vacation. I can't wait to.
Sure.
Yeah, but I'm really running out of stuff. I did find, as everyone knows, I do love mom POV, And I did find if you Google search mompov.com, spankbang.com, newest, hardest to find videos, POV 4K. That seems to be a good like bunch of words to string together. And then you click on like the top one or the top two of what comes up on Google. And then you just keep scrolling all the way down to the bottom. And I'm seeing women that I've like never seen before. Like, because it's Mom POV. A lot of these people I like recognize. I'm like, oh,
right.
Yeah,
they've been doing the circuit. They've been desperate.
Or at least I've been like combing through this pile of newspapers, if you will, for the past couple of years. Right. So I was pleasantly surprised but sometimes like Mom POV, sometimes the women are like really hot. And then sometimes you're like, and then sometimes they are not. Like, I'm like, I don't even know who would.
Like,
I mean,
no, thank you.
Yeah, because they always open up where she's sitting on the bed and they say their name and how old they are. And sometimes they're like, "Hi, I'm Jennifer. I'm 32. I'm a mother of 2, and this is my first time working for Mom POV, or I'm just starting to do this." And I do love it when the guy goes, "So why are you even doing this? Like, what's going on?" And then and they always say the same thing. They don't always say the same thing, but I like when they're honest and they go, "For the money." So I mean, that makes me
kind of goes up. Wait, does that make you more aroused?
Yes. Okay. In no uncertain terms.
Right. Hey, we got another super chat from Gustav. Give us $50.
Are you serious?
How do you like
this
that?
Actually works.
Yeah, baby. Wow. That's why I've been pushing you to get monetized. Right.
Hey, to paraphrase the Simpsons, we're gonna have food tonight.
Right. Hot.
Wow, that's great.
Sell the hot plate. Gustav says, "When's Hollywood on again?"
Oh, good question. You know what? Let's get him on next week.
Yeah. Well, we're due. I was just actually gonna say,
what?
If we don't rebook them soon, I'm gonna get a text probably in the next week.
So you want to just, hey Gustav, you want to just book him right now? Can we just text?
Are we
email
telling
him?
Gustav to do it? Is that what
Gustav here?
Yeah, no, I mean, trust me.
Okay,
all I got to do is text him. He'll be
all right. Well,
we'll
you
have him next week.
Want to do it in front of Gustav right now? So
I don't think
is it hard to do?
But then I got to wait for his weird cryptic. We'll
fair enough.
I don't want to be
Gustav,
distracted with.
We're on it. We'll do it next week for you, unless he's doing something. I don't know.
He's not doing it.
Okay, fair enough. Yeah.
No, I'm telling you, if I was about to ask you, hey, we got to book Howard because he's gonna.
All right, I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna talk to my phone.
Okay. All right.
Hey,
wow,
Siri,
this guy's really.
Send a text message to Hollywood Howard.
I don't see Hollywood Howard in your contacts.
Oh, come on.
What?
Hey, Siri, send a text message to Howard.
Do you want to change it or send it?
Cancel. This is what I live with, everybody. This is my life. Cancel.
Worth $50 right here.
Right?
He's getting his money's worth.
Cancel. Hey, Siri, send a text message to Howard Dog Park.
You need to unlock your iPhone.
Okay, we're getting there. Gustav is like, can I have my $50 back?
Yes.
Okay, hold on. Hey, Siri, send a text message to Howard Dog Park.
Which one should I use for Howard Dog Run?
Mobile.
I don't see that person in your contacts.
Oh, for Christ's sake. One more time and I'm done. But you can truly see I'm trying to do it. Hey, Siri, text Howard Dog Run.
Which one should I use for Howard Dog Run?
Maine.
I don't see that.
Okay.
I'm just going to text
He's
him.
going to, Adam's
I'm
going to
sure
do
he'll
it.
get back to us.
Anyway, so we're going to reach out to him.
What do I have him as?
I don't know.
I just got him as regular Howard.
Howard Leibowitz.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, so we'll get him on next week. It's been a while. And we were trying to like put something together with him and like an adult girl and blah, 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 blah,
yeah, I was thinking that could be funny and that also could be a good way of never getting another adult star on the show.
And also, okay, so for those of you,
I feel like he'd make it weird.
You think?
I feel like you'd get a phone call.
Well, also, I think also that Howard would think that he's coming here to actually have sex with her in front of us. I think Howard would
would have like a bag of Quaaludes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Howard, how's about next week?
Tell him Gustav the audience is clamoring for him.
Oh, yeah.
Clamoring. And
everyone's clamoring.
So as soon as he gets to one of those weird Wi-Fi kiosks they have around the city where you can get free Wi-Fi, then Howard is on it. Mm-hmm. His StarTech right now is buzzing. So, okay. Yeah, but I do think if Howard, I don't think Howard would understand if he was like, he would look over at like Lucy Sunflower and be like, so are we having sex right now?
Right.
Like, and she'd be like, what?
He would just start pulling it out.
Yeah, he was starting. Although by the time he would take all his clothes off, the show would be over.
Yes.
He's got like 9
You'd
jackets
be
on.
like a
Yeah, he's like a Russian nesting doll.
Palestinian stripper.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, so we'll get him on. And I also don't know, like, I think Lainey, okay, for those of you who don't know, Lainey is the person that she books all this adult talent. So if you ever see like these trans people on, or sometimes it's been a comic here and there, and the guy from Deep Throat or whatever, all of those people.
Your Ralph Suttons.
Your Ralph Suttons.
Your
by the way, would it kill Ralph
Vic
to
Legina
have us back on the show? I've been talking to Vic. I told you that. By the way,
to have us back on the show?
No. Okay. So Vic,
back on?
If you remember, Vic Legina was the big porn director guy for like Bang Bros and Reality Kings and everything. And he had mentioned he wrote a book called Filthy. It's over there. But he also did an audio book. And, you know, I want to listen to the audiobook. And he told me, he was like, yeah, I did my own voice and I did production on it and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, that's great. I'll just buy it because I have an Audible membership. So then he was on Howard Stern. Thank you very much. And
thank you. Not Howard from the dog park.
No, not Howard from the dog
Howard
park.
Dog Run Maine.
Yeah. Yo, Howard. Yo, I'm Jimmy Martinez.
Could you imagine those two meeting? That would be
Howard
a real
Howard.
meeting of the minds.
They would probably touch each other and explode like Time Cop.
Howard and Jimmy.
Remember Time Cop when Ron Silver, if you the two of you touched each other, you would like weirdly melt together.
Yes, I think it would be like Mercury.
Yeah, it'd be like Brundlefly. Yeah. So anyway, so what happened was, so Vic Legina was like, yeah, my audiobook is out. So I was like, oh, I'll go support this audiobook. So I went on his website and it just says audiobook with like a button. So I click on audiobook and it opened up my Spotify, and it's on Spotify for free. So if you have a Spotify account, you can find Vic Legina's book. It's called
Remind
Filthy.
Myself to do that because I've been meaning to.
Filthy, and he reads it himself. He has a really great speaking voice, and he also sometimes will have. It's all. Listen, when I tell you this book is all about the adult industry, it is all about. And if you remember the episode, remember he was so adamant about how women do not wash their vaginas. He devotes a solid half an hour of talking about how disgustingly smelly women's private parts can be, and he gets into it in like detail. Like he's like, you know, he's like, if they have a lot of loads in them, and the loads will get musty, and then sometimes like the lube will make the load smell
Musty
bad.
Loads take me home.
Yeah, exactly. Musty. If I ever own a sailboat, the Musty Loads,
West Virginia.
Yeah. So but it's on Spotify. So I listened to it like really. Once I put it, I literally could not put it down. Like I was
real page turner.
It's about an 18-hour book, maybe. No, not that long.
I just liked it on my Spotify, so I won't forget.
Oh, good.
Because I feel like it'll be good for like at the gym.
Oh, it's fantastic for anything. I'm telling you, everybody, if you're listening to my voice, it's free. Number one, I mean, you have to have Spotify, and I didn't know this. I have like the Spotify family premium account or whatever, and I have audiobooks on it, but you don't get unlimited audiobooks with Spotify. You only get however many hours you get. I was really disappointed because
really?
I heard you get the whole whatever if you have a Spotify account, at least a regular one, you can probably listen to his whole book. But I listened to his whole book, and then I listened to half of another book, and in the middle of the book, Spotify was like, if you want to buy more hours of, I'm like, well, I already have an Audible account. So that annoyed me, but you can definitely. So I reached out to Vic Legina on Instagram, and I was like, hey, I just listened to your book and I thought it was terrific. And he was like, oh, got right back to me. He's a really nice guy.
Yeah, he is.
He got right back to me, and he was like, hey, that's great. So then I hit him up again. And I was like, hey, how about those smelly pussies? Am I right? You know, I just want to, I want to kind of endear myself to him. And no. And then I said, if I can help with anything with the book, and he goes, if you could leave a review, that would be great. And I said, well, I tell you what, this is back and forth where we're like knee deep in this, like a couple of Kansas City faggots. It's from producers.
Sure.
Thank you. But I said to Vic Legina, I was like, if you send me links of different places where you want me to leave reviews, I'll just do it. So he sent me like 4 reviews. So I did, and there were 4. I didn't just cut and paste. I left 4 unique reviews, and I said, he was like, "Oh, these are so funny." Right. But thank you. So that's it. So I'm telling you, Vic Legina, it's a free thing. It is Really, really fascinating. And he also like names names. He's like Jenna Fisher.
I love that.
Yeah. And what he'll do
Jenna
is
Fisher from The Office.
yeah.
Pam?
That'll
Pam?
do I have the wrong name?
Yes.
Sorry. He's like Carol Channing. I'm like, wow, what kind of porn did this guy make? All right. Yeah. He's like
Representative Ocasio Cortez.
he's like Judith Light had the smelliest pussy in the
right.
from Who's the Boss?
What's happening?
Tony Danza's Connecticut boss.
Right.
Mona, however, smelled like a peach.
Right.
And the little boy got AIDS.
I just want to report Howard got back to me already, and he wrote in 4 separate texts.
Okay. Oh,
capital D, capital E, capital A, capital L.
Deal.
That spells deal.
Okay. Well, yeah, he's a sweet guy. That's great.
He has such funny, like the weird cryptic stuff that he writes.
It's a little exhausting, but
it's like equations and riddles.
I know.
It's
it's
limericks and things like that.
Yeah, it's like that. What's that movie with Tom Hanks? The Da Vinci Code. It's like
sure.
It's like the Da Vinci Code. You need that that thing that from Indiana Jones where that guy burned his hand and they had to put it on the staff. Oh, a drink for you and your men. Oh, we are not thirsty. I'm like, is that guy German or Asian or what? Remember that guy from the movie? Like he looked very like I don't know, he looked German, but
I don't recall that movie.
You don't recall Indiana
it,
Jones?
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Da Vinci Code.
Oh, no.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I remember.
Yeah. Remember,
Indiana
like,
Jones.
it was the girl that...
Dr. Jones.
Yeah, Dr. Jones, yeah. We are not thirsty. And then that talisman thing, like, fell in the heat, and he went to grab it. So they only had one side of it.
Gotcha.
I'll tell you an interesting fact about Indiana Jones is, and I heard this on the internet, so it must be true, but
yeah,
apparently George Lucas wrote the screenplay for that. By the way, George Lucas he should get an award for writing like the world's best screenplays and the world's shittiest screenplays. He's like, because like
he's got range.
Yeah. So in the screenplay that he wrote, the character of the girl that is she's like the romantic interest in the movie, for lack of a better term. She's like she's running a bar in Nepal or something, and her dad was friends with Indiana Jones. Well, in this screenplay, that character isn't like in her early 20s. She's like 13. So like it's probably not filmable. You know what I mean? It would have been a very different movie if it was like Indiana Jones, like this with his whipping like a young girl, like a pedophile or something. So they had to change that. And I think George Lucas was a little upset. He's like, hey, why? Like, guy, we can't
get what the big deal is.
Hey, come on. Love is love, guys. Come on.
Right.
Love is love. He's like, and also Princess Leia's got 4 tits. We're going to change it. Like, listen, George, we love almost everything you do. Emphasis on the almost, but we're not giving Princess Leia an extra 2 tits, and we're not making the girl.
It ain't natural.
We're not making her 9.
Hey, I got another message here from Gustav.
Hey, Gustav.
Gustav, I hope you got the message. Howard will be on next week.
Yeah, he's in.
If you're watching from home.
Yes.
Gustav says, so I just realized YouTube is making me pay taxes on these super chats, and YouTube is taking 30%, and Apple is taking 30% of YouTube's share. Wow. Adam, this is like a SAT question for me.
Go ahead.
Adam, how much do you actually clear? Interesting question. There's been a lot of.
I'll tell you what. You know why I think this is funny is because
I can answer the question.
Oh, well,
go ahead. Go ahead.
No. Sorry. Sorry. I'm so empty of diarrhea that I'm a little woozy.
You're not thinking straight.
Adam, you have the floor.
Right. Well, okay. So the tax is actually on your end, so that comes off the top. So it comes through. This one is for $9.99. So $9.99 actually comes through, and then the Apple Google portion depends on what kind of device you're using. So if you use an iPhone, they charge you an extra fee, I guess. Wow. But it's like, I think that's also on your end, on the consumer end. But to be as honest as I can be,
go ahead,
because there is a range. It's usually the creator takes anywhere from 60 to 80% of that $10 or whatever.
You can't fight City Hall. You know what I mean?
No,
like, what are you going to do?
These fat cats.
And I will tell you, Gustav, if you're interested, the account that this money goes into is actually my limited liability corporation. So I'm hoping on April 15th, my team of Jews can, get all this together and we don't pay any taxes or something, or Adam's going to start writing off his black t-shirts. So
sure.
This whole thing is just a 14-year tax shelter. So that's all this is really about. So, yeah, I know. Well, you know how I realize how sometimes you can totally get fucked with like these fees is I was on TikTok and I was trying to, those little at Brian M show on TikTok,
but also Tic Tac.
and Tic Tacs, right? If your breath stinks,
yes. If you got a meeting or something,
or Vic Vagina, if you're a porn star, put some Tic Tacs up your pussy.
He said his trick was boric acid.
Oh, Jesus,
remember he said that? That's also how
Yeah.
you get rid of cockroaches too.
Yeah,
I believe.
Vic's seen a bunch. When you're in the room with him, he definitely has that faraway stare of like a Vietnam vet.
Yeah.
He's like, we would rape the kids we killed. You're like, all right, geez, Vic. As a matter of fact, I don't know. I think I'm going to CES this year, which is the Consumer Electronics Show in Las Vegas.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and Vic was like, if you do come out, and he will hang out or something. So I'm like,
he'll take it to like some kind of warehouse party or something.
Yeah, it would be nice if he was like, hey, you can stay with me. I'm like, oh, cool.
I mean, I think he's probably got a big old house.
Yeah,
it's weird to be in somebody's space. I don't like. I like staying in a hotel.
We have talked about this. I would not want to stay with Vic Vagina, not because of Vic Vagina. And honestly, if I was going to stay with anybody, it would be Vic Vagina. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it would be. Yeah, but
100%.
It'd be some room where like it would be a bedroom that I immediately recognize. I'm like, oh, I know this bedroom. Right. There's been many, many DPs on this bed.
Mm-hmm.
Why does it smell like cat food? Right. Oh, don't get me started. Oh shit.
Here it goes. But to also sum up the answer to the sort of the question.
Okay.
We get quite a bit of the money, so don't let that deter you.
Don't
fee. Yeah, it's not a crazy amount.
Yeah. And
unless there are certain little instances where they have taken like 50% of the take, but that's usually like maybe if there's some kind of international fees or something like that.
And I have a call into Mr. Google, so we're gonna I'm thinking
we're good. Yeah, we're good.
Yeah. And I have spent easily $50,000 doing this podcast, so anything I'm in the red.
My t-shirts.
That's just Adam's veneers.
Yes. I recently just went down a YouTube rabbit hole. I didn't know how veneers worked really.
Okay.
It's fucking insane. I can't believe they like grind your teeth down. And...
Yeah, Paul Denon has some veneers.
Holy shit, does he?
Yep. I think the trick with veneers is you don't get them too white. You don't look like
you don't want to have big chiclets.
You want chiclets. Yeah. Okay. So just to get back to TikTok for a second.
Go ahead.
So I went on TikTok and they had that like promote assistant thing on TikTok. And it's through TikTok. So I'm like, I don't know what they do with that. I don't know how so I wanted to get over 1,000 people on TikTok, which I now have. What a rock star. But so
gee whiz.
I went on TikTok and it was like this, it was like $30 or something. And then the tax to Apple, it was like an additional 35%.
Well, that's the thing is because you probably do it on your phone, right?
I do.
Yeah. Anything that's done through like an app on like an Apple native device is like astronomical. They tack on an extra fee. That's why.
Why?
Because they're Apple, I guess. Probably they mock turtlenecks. Probably Tim Apple, Tim Cook.
They took a bath on those vision goggles
that is the reason why. So if you go on YouTube, if you go on the app, which by the way, this is a good time to plug. You can now purchase memberships for the show, and you get the free, or not free, but you get the bonus episode every week.
Yes. So basically, if you're not comfortable going, if you're not on Patreon, if you are on Patreon, thank you. That's terrific. And you'll always continue to get the Patreon content. But if you join the YouTube channel, then you'll also get access to the Patreon, the new shows. And then we are going to start moving the Patreon library over to the YouTube membership stuff, right?
I mean,
eventually.
That's up to you.
Yeah. I don't, why not?
We'll talk about it.
Okay, we'll talk about it. And we're also going, everyone gets a Jeep Wrangler. Adam's like, what are you doing?
Listen.
Yeah, exactly. So
but I was going to say the reason why, but like if you go on the there's been so much controversy over this because if you go on the YouTube app, you can't do the membership thing. on the, or they are working it out where they're rolling it out in beta, but you have to go on a laptop to do it because
Yeah.
and they've been dragging their heels on it because Apple charges so much to do it from an iPhone
Okay.
that so say the membership is $5,
Okay,
right?
yep.
For this, they charge then another fee if you do it from an iPhone. So it's like $5
Oh
plus
my God.
30% of that if just for doing it from an
Jesus,
iPhone.
it's exhausting.
Yeah, so I know a few people that have, because they're beta testing it, and I know a few people that have just by chance gotten it on their thing, and it's like they have to bump the price up to do it on
so I know this sounds like
crazy.
an infomercial for the
Yeah.
stupid channel, but like, so if somebody wanted to join the YouTube channel, they're better off doing it through like a browser window on a laptop.
Yeah, you can do it. Yeah. I mean, you can do it on your phone, but just through like Safari. If you do it through the YouTube app, there's an extra fee.
Oh
It's crazy.
my God.
Yeah.
Give me a fucking break.
Uh-huh.
Yo, that's some white people bullshit.
Right. That's
shit.
White people bullshit.
Yo, moms. He lives with his mother. The devil lived with his father. Am I right? Oh shit! Now he's gonna kick my butt.
Yeah.
You know who remember
Watch
that guy?
out.
Remember that guy Dante Nero?
Yeah.
What a fucking crank he was. Jesus Christ. Yeah. Because when we were doing the show, he did not like this when I said this. When I know it's like MLC reminiscing days, but he came on to the show and he does a thing. This guy Dante Nero, and I know a lot of you already know this, but just bear with me. Where like he'll teach you how to talk to women.
Yeah, man school,
which I mean, although I will say that. And then he was talking to a girl, like we were doing the show, and then I know we took a break or something, and then he picked up his phone.
Oh, I think it was before the show. I remember this.
Okay,
yeah, I remember this.
Yeah, he was on his phone. He was like, "What's up, girl? Yeah, I'm gonna come on holler at you. You know what I mean? I'm so yeah, beep beep beep. Yeah, Victor John, I don't like no stinky pussy. Blah, 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 blah.
Wow.
And then he put the phone down, and I said, "Boy, that was the blackest thing I've ever heard." I said, "You really spun some brown sugar into her ears, didn't you?" He didn't
care
like
for that kind of humor.
He didn't like that kind of humor, but it was funny because I was listening to him and I was like, well, at least he thinks what he does has value. You know what I mean? Like, I think the whole thing's ridiculous.
I know he gets a lot of shit because I think that was a Patrice thing.
Oh no.
And he kind of carried it on, and as well as Patrice's widow.
Oh boy.
Vonda Carlo. She has a thing that's like talk man. Like how to talk man. She wrote a book. And I think they get a lot of shit because that was Patrice's thing, and they were very close to him. And
did they buried Patrice in a piano box? Did they also bury that idea?
I guess some people felt like they should have.
You know, I know a guy. I have a friend of mine. Her boyfriend is a guy. He's like 60 years old, white guy, really skinny, and he just lost his foot from diabetes.
Holy shit!
I know.
Yeah, that can happen.
I know. He lost his foot.
Diabetes.
Yeah, and now he has a prosthetic, and he really likes the Grateful Dead. So his prosthetic is tie-dyed.
Really?
So you can get like kind of fun fake legs.
Okay.
And fun fake feet.
I'd get a hypercolor.
I'd
go ahead, squeeze it.
Oh, you mean like
remember those hypercolor t-shirts?
Oh yeah, right. Yeah.
You'd
I get one if you
grab
touch
them, they change color.
I get one if you touch it turned it into the Pillsbury Doughboy. It would go, hey, that's not a leg. Nothing's as loving like I've been nothing. Yeah, but yeah, so but the guy lost his leg. And I asked his girlfriend, I was like, how did that even, I didn't even know the guy. I knew he was sick. I didn't know, what was wrong with him, but he apparently he got some sort of like a cut on his foot and it just wouldn't heal. And that's the problem with
really.
Yeah, so it's
get gangrene.
It was going to turn gangrenous. Yeah, so they cut the whole thing off. So I mean, I don't know. It sucks.
That's freaky, man.
Yeah, exactly.
And is that because of diet? Because
he has he has diabetes, and he's
diabetes.
He's white. I keep saying that, but like he's white. No, but he's like, he doesn't look, he's not like some big fat guy that like walks around like drinking like Dr. Pepper. You know what I mean? He's like
but I know that there are other, I think it's just sort of the common way that we associate diabetes is like having too much sugar, but yeah, you can get it.
Yeah. And these are like wealthy people too. So I mean, I think whatever kind of medical attention you could throw at this, I think he has been. But yeah, I think if your foot starts to turn gangrenous, I don't know. Vic Vagina is like, you know what also is gangrenous? Every vagina
Right.
I've ever smelled.
Right.
They all smell like rotting flesh. Okay, Vic. Yeah. Oh, and another side note is I didn't tell you this, but that thing that I
Please.
did, Don't Look Now, the TV show that I shot back in December, it's going to be, they're doing a screening at the Studio City Film Festival, which is the end of August, August 28th through September 2nd. It's like Labor Day weekend. I don't know. And so I'm going out there for it. And while I'm out there, I will be doing Eddie If's podcast. So
Fun.
it's the Talking Shit podcast. That's how I started. That's how the whole journey began.
Sure.
And
He's
so,
still doing talking shit.
I don't know. I think it's just gonna be me and him talking into a couple of cans with
Right.
strings. Like, I don't think it's gonna be hooked up to anything.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah. I mean, look, Eddie's a really sweet guy. And I figured out yesterday that I wanted to go to do this because none of the other actors can make, well, one of the other actors can make it, but the director can't be there, the producer can't be there. So I
Oh,
figure,
so you're representing the film.
yes,
Or the pilot.
I told the director yesterday, I'm like, I'm going to say that I wrote this and I directed
Yes,
it
you
and I
should go just
edited
take
it,
all
all
the
mine.
credit
I'm
for it.
taking all of the credit.
That'd be
Yeah.
hilarious.
I'm going to go, what a journey.
Right, right.
Yeah, I'm going to wear like a director's beret,
Yeah, definitely a beret and
Yeah.
like a
big cigarette
Right.
holder. Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm just clearly doing cocaine.
Very
out of
eccentric.
yeah.
I'm thinking ascot,
Uh-huh.
probably.
I carry around a director's chair with me
Yes.
and just put it behind me wherever I sit.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, so I think that'll be fun. But if you happen to be in Los Angeles, it's called the Studio City Film Festival. And so I'm going to go out
Good
there.
times.
Yeah,
That'll be
good times.
fun.
It will be fun. So I hit up Eddie. This is what I did because it's taking place in Studio City. Jim Jeffries lives in Studio City. So I hit up Jim and I was like, hey, I'm coming to Studio City, blah, blah, blah. I mean, who knows
Sure.
with him? Whatever. But and then with Eddie, I was like, because he's been saying to me, come to LA to do the podcast. And I'm like, well, I can't just jump on a plane and go there unless I have something else to do. So I sent him a message and I said, all right, I'm coming out. These are the dates. And he was like, we're going to find time to do a podcast. But my only,
Wow.
and not
Real meeting of the minds.
oh yeah, it's a
It's
big,
funny because I think I was just looking. I believe I subscribed to his podcast.
okay. It's
And,
funny. It's a very funny show. I mean,
I
he's
don't
been doing
know.
it for a long time and
Maybe I'm subscribed to the wrong feed.
could be. But I will tell you, they're going to have to figure out a way to come get me because I'm not going to have a car, obviously.
Sure.
And I know that they, or at least I think they taped this thing in Malibu, which is not close to Studio City. So they're going to have to figure out a way to get, maybe there's some sort of talking shit chopper or something.
Yeah,
You know,
I think so. Like a kind of like a blade.
Yeah. And there's a, the hotel where I wanted to stay is right on Ventura Boulevard, which is, there's this road in Los Angeles called Ventura Boulevard, and that runs through everyone's heard of the valley, right? So it goes Studio City, Encino, Reseda, Tarzana, Woodland Hills, blah, blah, blah. And it goes all the way up. And there's a hotel called the Sportsman's Lodge, which is this really old school, like very kind of hip looking, like it was built in 1962 hotel, and it has like a pool scene, and it's kind of like a, it's like a, I mean, LA, I think is very douchey for a bunch of different reasons, but like,
Yeah.
I've always wanted to stay at the Sportsman's Lodge. Like it has like a jungle theme, and it has like palm trees and stuff. Like it kind of looks like, I don't know, looks like a something from like the early 20th century, like some sort of Kenyan safari lodge. I don't know if they have like lion heads and shit. I've actually never been in before, but so yesterday I was with my wife and I was like, hey, look to see how much the Sportsman's Lodge is to stay a night. And she was
Okay.
like, it's a 3-star hotel, which by the way, they go to 5. So
Sure.
it's not like it shouldn't be
Right.
$751
Really?
a night.
They must have a waffle maker.
A Belgian waffle maker for that kind of money. I know. I was like, fucking give me a break. So get them super chats coming.
Yikes.
No, just kidding. But I was
Yeah,
like,
the last time he posted was February 14th.
okay.
So I think there is a good. I'm just looking out for you because I think it could be a trap.
Yeah, like some sort of sex trafficking.
I think so. Yeah, or organ harvesting.
No, don't take my
Maybe
liver.
he got into that.
Yeah.
He's into some kind of
Well,
Malibu.
I'll tell you right now, this liver is not going to get you much.
Could you imagine?
Yeah, right. I probably have like half a
Buy
good kidney.
A Hyundai with 250,000 miles.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a Geo Metro.
Like, this is gonna need a
Yeah,
rebuild.
we're gonna, you know what? Just keep whatever you got going on. Keep that liver. Yeah. There's like I'm like passed out in like a bathtub in the Sportsman's
Right.
Lodge. There's some Ukrainian guy holding my liver up to a light bulb. He's like, "This is not good for nobody. This is like looking at the Tom Selleck mustache." Yeah. So anyway, so be out there for that. I'm going to see Sasha Knopf for sure.
Okay. Oh wow.
Yeah.
Reunited.
Nah,
And it
well,
feels so good.
Hold on, I'm already getting a little bit of pushback with that. So no, I'm just gonna.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. It's gonna
Yeah.
be fine. You got to be able to trust the person you're with. So
You do. You have to.
yeah. So, but I know that she is Sasha. Like the few times that I did like what for me qualifies as stand up in LA, she would always come like at the Laugh Factory or the Improv. She's very supportive of like any of that kind of stuff. And I think she doesn't live too far from Studio City. So I was like, sent her a message. I was like, hey, I'm doing the Studio City Film Festival. She's like, I'll be there every night. I was like, oh,
Wow.
right. Yeah, all right.
Like a supportive mother.
Yeah, no, she's good. So that'll be that. But I have not been to LA. Last time I was in LA, that was when I got
Yikes.
blackout drunk and I fell off my friend's house. Remember that?
Sounds vaguely familiar.
It's like one of my
Whose house?
one of my least proud moments. I got to tell you, this is
Holy shit.
So this is about 6 years ago, and I went out with my daughter. Already, the story's depressing, but so I was like kind of in the throes of it, right? I was really drinking a lot, and the two of us went out to visit this guy Chris, who's an old friend of mine. We're no longer friends because of the trip, but so my daughter and I, her good friend lives out there. So we met these people when we lived in LA. So it was over spring break, and I told my daughter, who was probably 10, 11 at the time, I said, hey, let's go together. We'll go to Los Angeles. We'll stay in a hotel up where we used to live, and we'll be there for 3 or 4 nights. And you'll see your friend. We'll see Mr. Chris. We'll go to Santa Monica. We'll do the pier. We'll go the whole, have like a little trip. So she was like, that's great. Terrific. So flew out there, no incident. I mean, I was like drinking the whole time I was on the flight. That was nothing new, but or anything. So, and then we get to the airport, we get to the hotel. And so far, it's not like a big story. And then, this friend of mine was dating a woman who had, like, this guy does not have good taste. Like, he does not have good taste in girls. And what I mean by that is like the woman he's dating, like, he's a really nice guy. He's kind of too nice, and we're not friends anymore. I think
those guys.
I think he's kind
maybe
of
gets taken advantage of.
Yeah, but I think he also likes being taken advantage of. He and women are like
Sounds kinky.
I know I'm jumping around a little bit, but like he met this through me. He met this really beautiful Brazilian girl who was like, I mean, long black hair. I mean, really, really sweet and nice. And like, he broke up with her. He couldn't handle how nice she was to him. Like,
oh, she was too kind.
Yes. So, because I met his first wife. When I met him, he was married to this woman, and this woman I knew the first time I met her, I knew she was doing cocaine in my bathroom. We had him over for dinner, and I was right. Like, he told me like a couple months later. They got divorced like a month later.
Confirmed.
And he was like, yeah, she was doing blow in the bathroom. And she was like blonde, big fake tits. I mean, I actually thought she was great. Like, I told my wife, I was like, this couple's great. She's doing blow in the bathroom, and he's got an erection, and she's flicking food at him. I'm like, this is my new favorite couple. We just moved out to LA. They got divorced like a month later.
We all really clicked.
Yeah, I like I like people that are interesting. You seem interesting. And so we go, so he left her. They got divorced. She actually, like, when they got divorced, like, she kicked him out of the house. She took all the furniture. Like, I mean, so then he had been single for like a couple of years, and then by the time I had moved back to New York, he had met someone, and she looked exactly like the woman that he had gotten divorced, or at least she was a type. She was like almost 50, which, okay, it's not old. Okay. Like, it's fine, but she had a lot of work done. She was blonde, big fake tits, like and just it looked very LA, like fillers and Botox and
Right.
everything. And the first time I met her, I would come out. Joe DeRosa had taped his Comedy Central special in Hollywood, and I went. And Joe had given me some tickets for friends, and I'd come out from New York for this. And I invited him and his this is when I met this woman, the new girl. And when I gave them tickets and we saw the show, and I sat with Joe's parents up in the up in the mezzanine area, and they were down on the floor. And after the show, I was looking for Chris, and I found him. I shouldn't have said his name, but whatever. I didn't say his last name, but I was like, hey. I'm like, where's the girl you're dating? And he was like, she was really offended by the show, so she's waiting in the car. And I was like, what? So I didn't say anything to him then. I was like, well, what do I care? Like, if he's going to date this fucking skank, who cares? I live in New York. I mean, this guy, it's not my responsibility. His happiness is not my responsibility. So then they're together, and he's posting on Facebook like pictures, and she has like some ex-husband, and he's telling me like the ex-husband's really a cool guy, and they're watching pictures of the ex-husband. He's wearing like True Religion jeans and like Ed Hardy,
like a cool guy,
Ed Hardy shirts, and like
one of these Danny Bonaducci types.
Yeah, this is very like douchey LA, like ex-suburb, like just not
rides
my
a Harley,
not my scene. Or like
started riding Harleys late in life.
Like 38. It went to a Harley school,
right?
I went to Harley Davidson school outside of Reno, Nevada.
Yes,
learned to ride like the pros. All right, he took a symposium on bandana folding. Right. He's like, look, I know how to fold a bandana, all the different cool ways that he does. I'm almost done.
I appreciate you giving me a little heads up.
He does Sons of Anarchy cosplay.
I was fucking right. I was on my way to Sons of Anarchy joke. Hey,
it would be really funny if somebody did a super chat and they made me kiss Adam really hard. Would that be hilarious?
Weird if somebody dared us to do 7 minutes in heaven.
Yeah. So anyway, so we had
your coat closet.
So we had this girlfriend. So then about 6 months later, I go to LA again, and I had gone out there because Eddie Ifft had asked me to come out to be part of this podcast festival at the Improv on Melrose Place. And Eddie was like, come out. We're going to be on the stage at the Improv. It's going to be this person, Patrice, Patton Oswalt, somebody.
Patrice
Oswald, who's the illegitimate son of Dabney Coleman and Judith Light. So stupid. And he goes, come out. And what I did is like I built some other things around going to LA, and I said, oh, I'll go out. And my vision had already somebody's here. Sorry. My vision had already started to go south. So Rosie, sorry guys. So I come out there, and I'm there alone. I go to this Melrose thing, and this guy brings his girlfriend, and he brings his mother, who I had met, and they come to the Improv, Melrose Improv, and we're on stage and we're doing the show. And after the show, I couldn't find this guy or his girlfriend or his mother. I couldn't find them. It was busy, but there's a bar out there and there were people everywhere. So I'm looking around. So I send him, I call him, and I'm like, hey, where are you? I thought they were like, I don't know, valet their car or something. And he goes, oh, we had to leave because whatever her name is, Jennifer, we had to leave. And I was like, what do you mean? She goes, well, she got really offended. And she like all the
this is the same lady.
Number 2 time.
Second offense.
Yes.
Wow.
And by the way, the Melrose Improv and where they live with no traffic, it's an hour to get there.
Oh.
So like, and listen, all you do is, and this is a woman who's north of 45, right? And by the way, you know what her job is? She's a celebrity psychic.
I was going to say publicist.
No, she literally says she's a psychic. And I knew that my friendship with this guy wasn't long for the world when I was making fun of being a psychic. And he was like, Brian, she has a lot of intuition. Like, Brian, come on. I was like, what are you, fucking Stockholm syndrome or something?
Yeah, he really,
he's
a company man.
Yeah. So, which you kind of have to be if you're dating this woman.
Yeah, it's. I feel like there have definitely been relationships that I've been in where I'm like, I get it. You're not wrong for feeling the way that you feel.
So anyway, so they leave, and he said the funniest thing to me. I mean, it's kind of funny by accident. He goes, I was saying to him, I'm like, well, what was so offensive about like what the show. And I mean,
Uh-huh.
it was dirty, but whatever. We're all adults, you know? And he goes, well, she didn't like a lot of like the rape jokes.
Okay.
And I was like, I said to him, I go, dude, who cares? There's just jokes. And he goes, Brian, she's been raped a lot. I swear to
A
God.
number of times.
Brian. she's
Wow.
been- yeah.
Okay. You know
So-
what? I'm gonna give her that one. I'm gonna
So
give her that one.
yeah, but you know what? Suck it up. You're a grown up.
I dated a chick that got raped, and she would like make jokes about it.
Yeah, she seems
It's the
like
kind of company I keep.
yeah, that's a keeper.
That was one of the last white chicks I dated.
That sounds about that make me hang it up too. This reminds you of the time I was gang raped by the
No, but I remember.
yeah, the silliest cartel in
right,
Mexico.
I remember somebody made a joke about it, and me being like, "Oh shit, is she gonna be weird?" I mean, this was like,
Yeah.
I would imagine, 10 years before I met her.
Right.
It was. I didn't do it.
You didn't rape her?
That's what clarified.
By the way, the fact that she joked about it, we call that in therapy radical acceptance.
Sure.
So
Yeah. Exposure therapy.
yes. So that happened. So
She's
then
been raped a lot.
which then didn't help me that I started laughing hysterically when he said that. I was like, you got to be kidding me. Come on,
A
man.
lot.
Like,
I would have follow-up questions for
yeah.
that.
Well, anyway.
A
so
lot.
So then like a year later, that's when I went out there with my daughter and we stayed in a hotel and I had met, and this guy was, I mean, not to get too under the hood, but
Sure.
that horrible ex-wife of his was like suing him for custody of his daughter. And he was going through a really rough time, but we had already booked a trip. And I told him, I said, look, why don't you we're going to be here for 3 nights. Why don't you hang out with us as much as you can? And both the kids were on vacation, and I'll pay for everything. That we'll go to Malibu, we'll go to Santa Monica, we'll do this, and let's give the kids a lot of fun, and we'll do this thing. And I couldn't drive, at this point, and I'm staying up in kind of the Malibu area, so you couldn't get around unless you were driving or you had a Lyft or an Uber. So the last night I was there, this friend of mine, she was having like a dinner party for me with some other friends at her house. And she just bought this house. It was all white. The entire house was white, like white balconies, white, and it was built into a cliff. And this friend of mine was saying to me, he was like, and by the way, the whole time we're hanging out, like, going to like the amusement park or driving here or driving there, his girlfriend is blowing up his phone. Like, she's blowing it up. And I'm trying to like, look, I'm not in this guy's life. So I'm not like, she's a fucking bitch, but I'm like,
Right.
dude, can you just tell her like to put it on ice for like 8 hours? And so we can just do this thing. And I was annoyed. I was like, I didn't really want to be around this guy at this point. So he says to me, like, I had just I was going to make lobster rolls. I told this woman, I said, look, you host this thing and I'll do all the food. So I had bought like all these lobsters and I was going to steam them and make lobster rolls. Oh yeah. And do that. And I was going to do like a New England clam bake, if you will.
Love
Speaking of clam bakes, Vic Legina hates.
Hey, folks.
Yeah. Vic Legina hates smelly
Enjoy
clam
the
bake
veal.
pussies. Yeah. So I said, I'm going to buy all this stuff and do it. So I come out of the grocery store, like $800 worth of fucking corn and potatoes and clams, all this bullshit. And he says to me, Brian, she really wants to come tonight. And I told him, I said, you know what?
Gonna be a lot of rape jokes.
Yeah. I said, only if we can gangbang her. No, I said, no. And he was like, what do you mean? I'm like, buddy, I don't know how to say this, but like, this is my last night here. Like, these are friends of mine. I don't need she's already walked out of like 2 things that I've done. Like, she only wants to come because she's controlling and she's controlling you. And if that's your bag, that's fine. But like, pick it up tomorrow. We're leaving tomorrow. Like, so, and he was really upset with me. And so we get to the house and I was frustrated and I was pretty new to the whole like blind thing and I couldn't drive. I just was drinking like a lot. And my friend was there with his wife and they were kind of like taking care of my daughter. So I was eating and drinking. So I wasn't like I was like, but I was like, I mean, clearly. So the next morning I wake up and I'm all dirty and there's a huge ripped hole in my Lacoste shirt. And my daughter's on
It's like The Hangover.
Oh yeah, my daughter's on the other bed, and I was like,
Mike Tyson was there.
I was like, yeah, right. There was a dead snow leopard. And listen, you don't ever want to like. And I didn't remember. I mean, I was in a complete blackout, which is embarrassing to say out loud, but I was. So I said to her, I was like, oh, gee. And I didn't want to be like, hey, daddy had an alcoholic blackout. I was just
Sure.
like, oh, my shirt. And she goes, yeah, I'm just glad you're okay. And I was like, what do you mean? And she
Your
was like,
daughter said that?
my daughter. Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. She's like,
Ooh.
she's like smoking a cigarette
This
in
is
the
like an
corner.
after-school special.
I know. Trust me.
Holy
Scott
shit.
Bay, Tatum O'Neal and Scott Baio are.
It's like a Lifetime movie.
Drunken blind
Holy
dad. I know.
shit.
So apparently the house, and I do remember this now because later on in the day it started to come back to me, but the house was completely white. Nothing was like contrasting, no
Okay.
black, no white. So I was going down the stairs to like, a lot of the house was like outside, because it's LA. So there's like outside, inside. So I was going outside and I was carrying things, and I didn't realize that there was like a retaining wall for the house. So I just went right over the retaining wall and I rolled down this rocky hill in Malibu. And I got to the middle of it, and I was yelling for people to come get me.
Wow.
And so they had to, like, it was a kind of a thing. So two guys had to come
Holy
down
shit.
and get me up. And that's why my shirt was ripped and I was all bloody. And that's what that was.
Oh my God.
So yeah. So I got up, I took a shower, threw the shirt away. Then we got a lift to back home. And I felt so guilty with my daughter that we were flying back, and I paid extra and I put her in first class just to buy her affection. I was like, hey, it'll be fun for you. You'll be sitting in 1A.
And I'm wondering how much a 10-year-old would
remember.
Well, even like, is that a thing where she'd be like, oh,
listen.
Look at all this leg room?
Oh, I see what you're saying. No, she knew. Well, she had flown business class.
Okay,
before.
so she's an experienced traveler.
She was.
Okay.
Yeah, she had been there before, but
Yeah.
it was more like
I feel like those wings would probably have been.
Yeah. No, I was
enough.
No, I was joking that I was in like the 38th row and she was in the first row. And yeah. So anyway, so that's what happened. I felt on the hill. So should we say goodbye and just say,
yeah, let's wrap it up, and we got to go do the bonus show.
So super quick. Thanks everybody for this for the chats. I mean, for the whatever all that stuff was. We do appreciate it. Thank you. And of course, it's at Brian M Show on all the socials, and that's you can also reach Adam through all that stuff too. And yeah, you can subscribe to the thing. You can do this. You can do that. We're going to start putting a little bit of merch out, just a little, one or two kind of fun new shows, nothing crazy, but hopefully kind of fun stuff for the fall. I want to do a Halloween shirt, and it's going to be orange, and it's going to say, my other shirt is a broom. Like you're a witch.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we'll do like a witch hat. Well, it's a work in progress.
Okay.
We're talking to, there's some graphic design people. I'm
okay.
Trying to get a hold of on Fiverr.
Brian McCarthy Industries.
Yeah, and then we're gonna stop for a second, and we're gonna come back, and that's gonna be the secret show if you're on Patreon, and then next week we can do the secret show for YouTube also, right? Can we?
Yeah, it's tricky because we
we'll figure it out. I am writing checks with my mouth that my ass can't cash.
I maybe should just do the explaining.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Next week, Matchbox cards. Everyone gets one.
You can do members only streams, but then we wouldn't also be able to do that on Patreon. We're trying to make it work for everything.
We're trying to figure it out. It's a work in progress.
Yeah.
So
okay. So if you want to join the Patreon,
just join the Patreon.
Can, watch the live. You can watch it live.
You can watch it live.
And this will also be available for members.
Yep.
As soon as it's over.
Okay. Dynamite.
Yeah.
Thanks everybody
Good
for
times.
listening, and we'll see you next week. Hollywood Howard.
Yeah.